So many of you remember my friend Bob. I refer to him as Brother Bob because we are very much brothers in the outdoors, brothers in faith. And he took a beautiful moose up there with the Western Lands Group in northern Utah. He filmed this for me. I said, hey, is there any way you can just hang on to the cell phone and just film the breakdown of this moose? There is an audience out there that loves this component. We love to learn from one another, and very few people in the Mountain West get the opportunity to see the breakdown of a Shiras bull moose. A couple of quick things to know right out of the gate. Bob is going to Euro this moose. So I'm just going to take the head off right now just to get it out of the way. That cut, either from below or from the back of the head, you just go straight down until you hit that atlas joint, and then just work your knife into that crack, and that head will come off super easy. This is a bull moose that had his head removed with a little Havalon 70 blade. Easy peasy, just don't force it. Work your way around those cuts. He's also going to take this entire hide and make a gigantic powwow drum out of it. That's the whole idea. Everything is being utilized. The feet, the head, horns, liver, every component of this animal is being used except for the guts and the bones. So I'm going to remove that head, and then Bridger makes a cut from the tail all the way to the back of the neck. And then we're just going to open him up from there. So skinning right and left. I'm going to do a whole bunch of fast forward here because the whole process took like 45 minutes. So if you can see, just picture taking that knife down the spine and then skinning him all the way around. So I have this gigantic piece of leather and hide. On the side we're going to start on, so his left-hand side, I'm going to take off his leg joint, just right there at the knee. I take my knife and I go around that cartilage. I work into the joint bones and then just pressure it off. Now, by removing all four joints first and cutting him from his tailbone to the back of his head, I don't have to make any more hide cuts for the rest of the animal. So right here, I've taken off that joint, and then we're going to skin the shoulder back and we're going to pull it out just like you're tubing a coyote or a fox. What I mean by that is just like you're taking off your sock. You're just going to pull, and that hide is going to come right off that ankle that we cut. Nice and clean, no cuts. Whoever's building the drum or whoever the taxidermist is, they can make whatever sort of cuts they want. You don't have to worry about it anymore.
You grab this side, you grab that side.
Two-man drum.
I know. We just needed this full body to hunt. We just needed a grip.
Then I can come in and take the backstrap and neck roast all in one solid piece. Super easy. Now, I don't mean to breeze over this like everybody knows exactly how it goes, but to take out that backstrap or that loin, you take your knife and follow the spine right up against his thoracic process, I think is what they call it, that spine, right? Just run your knife in there, and there's like a little cove on the rib cage with this beautiful piece of meat. You can either start at the neck or you can start at the hip bone, and you just sort of skin it out of there like a big trough. It's this beautiful piece of meat. We do that on both sides. Actually, we were able to pull the shoulder away and do both back straps before we removed it. And we have 4 knives at work here. Very accomplished, very good animal breakdown guides. So everybody's staying in their lane. We're not getting close to one another. It's really a neat deal. Lots of support, lots of help. Because we're doing this gutless, Bridger's going to reach in here. Now that we've got the back strap removed, you can see the short rib where those long ribs meet the short rib. And he's going to slide his knife up underneath there and grab that tenderloin. That's the premium cut of meat on any animal. So you slide in there and kind of work it out with your fingers, and you pull out these 2 beautiful loins. As we work together here skinning around, we dig out one of the bullets up in the shoulder blade of this animal. For any hunter, that's sort of a cool thing to recover, just kind of a neat memento of that moment. You're not glorifying death. What you're saying is, I've practiced, I've worked hard, and I've gained the skills in order to do this very legal, very regulated thing. And this is a memento that reminds me of that special moment on the mountain. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that, that's how I see those little tiny mementos. So just to get you up to speed, we've got both back straps out, both neck roast, the loins, and we're working on the second front shoulder. The boys decided to pick it up. I was going to skin around that last little tight stuff around the shank, and then they were just going to pull it straight through. It is so great to have a team of hardworking, young, strong people that know what they're doing. They get that shoulder off, they slide it in the game bag, and man, we're already 2/3 of the way done.
Well done.
2 quarters left up here. Going for the top. Yeah.
Yes.
Come
Come on, kid.
What do you have to make? And not have a.
Don't forget,
Not have a. What do they call the?
we're taking all these.
We are taking
Yeah.
class.
Now we've got 2 hindquarters, and then we got to skin the hide off the rest of the brisket. So Kate and I are gonna take this hindquarter out from the top. So we're pretty much just gonna pull and then skin it around that shank because we've broke that joint off, right? So we're making no more hide cuts, just skinning it off the leg there. And then once we've got the leg out, then we can just take and grab a hold of it, sort of hyperextend it, and then you run your knife down into that ball joint that's in like the growing area of that moose. Then you're just cutting meat away from bone. And if you know your cuts, sort of your cuts inside your pelvis, along your hip bone, even if you don't know your cuts, if you're just taking your knife and running it against bone, when you hit something hard, just move a quarter inch until you feel you're back in the meat. I think that's just good advice. Just feel your way around. If you leave meat on the bone, it's not hurting anything. You'll be able to see it when the leg is gone, and then you can cut it out. Those become all your grind cuts and all your excess scrap pieces. It's not hurting anything, especially if you're grinding your meat or cutting it into stew meat. Don't get caught up in having these perfect big hunks. It makes 0 difference when you're consuming it.
Get those good stuff. Whatever. So there's some of them.
I need my knees done too.
Those joint cracks are always a fan favorite. Caden and Travis showed up and just took a giant load of meat off the mountain for us. The boys were skinning that animal around. We were on that last hindquarter, and the end is in sight. I can't stress to you enough what a wrestling match this is. Now, I know I said that's super easy and just make your cuts and work around. I don't for 1 second think that it's not taking a ton of brawn, a ton of just, muscle, inconvenient places. Luckily, our weather was wonderful, but at the end here, you can see we had it all twisted up in the sagebrush. We had bodies holding. That's just the nature of the game. So we've got everything removed that we're going to take. We've got the hide laid out. We're going to do a little bit of fleshing, tie it up. This hide weighs 150 pounds, so somebody's got a big load coming off that mountain. I'm going to reach in and get the liver and the heart. We're going to pack it all up, get back down to the Ranger, and just sort of celebrate our time with this huge harvest. All this meat and all this good stuff that nature provided for us, just like God intended. Thank you, like always, for watching. Hunting season is starting to wind down, and there's so much film coming. Thank you for being patient.